Do you ever see somebody that has a good product, but their marketing or their messaging is just
every day, every day, every day? Because the problem is like people don't realize just because you're a good entrepreneur doesn't mean that you're a good marketer.
Now, if you could just give like a kind of like a basic for people, like what is marketing? Because most people, I know when I think of marketing, I just think, oh, you're just posting your content. You know what I mean? So what would you say is marketing 101?
Yeah, so I've been in marketing over 10 years. So even since when I was in college, I started getting my first clients, consulting and marketing. And what people don't realize is like marketing has evolved a lot over time, and they often get it confused with advertising. So marketing is allowing people to understand like your message and your value proposition, like what makes you different from something else, right? So for deception, the marketing will be how is it different from all the other whiskeys on the market, right? Advertising is when you run advertisements, right? You get in billboards, you buying for Facebook ads, like you are trying to put your message out there, right? So when it comes to like your brand, your product, if you're an artist, whatever it is, marketing is all about like what is your message in the marketplace.
Got you. Okay. So not just posting your stuff on Instagram is not marketing.
No. So posting your stuff on Instagram is content distribution.
Okay.
Right? Marketing is what's the message that you're putting out in that content.
Okay. How do people like even come up with a message? Because I always think about I know like the big brands like with Nike or whatever these bigger brands are. Like I understand how they put their message out, but I'm like for a small like company or a small brand or somebody just trying to figure out where they even at in the marketplace, how do they like even come up with their message, or how would you suggest somebody come up with their marketing?
Okay, let's do a little exercise.
Okay, let's play.
So when you started the Tap In podcast, right? What did you feel like was either missing in the marketplace, or like what did you want to add, to the conversation of podcasting?
So my thing is I wanted to give a message. I wanted to give the like a real, because I feel like with my podcast or with Tap In, it's a one-on-one conversation. Most podcasts I see is like a panel kind of discussion. And so I want to really dive deeper into the person that I'm talking to. So I wanted to, one, deliver a message, because I feel like everybody has a story.
Yep.
And I wanted them to be able to use our platform to tell their story, get their story out there, and make it a one-on-one, not where it's like a panel discussion. So that was my thinking. And the Tap In, it came from an interview that I seen Nipsey had, and I was like, I like that. I like just that phrase, tap in. And so I was like, I'm gonna take that. So that's where the name Tap In came from.
Gotcha.
But the thinking behind it was I want to really understand who I'm talking to and be able to get their story out there.
Okay. So when we think about the Tap In podcast message, is that, right? It's you don't have to compete on a panel for attention, right? To get your message heard. Because I hate sitting on a panel and there's that one person that's long-winded and it's like, baby, it's 30 minutes, okay? Get it out so the rest of us can talk, okay? So that's one part of it, right? Like, hey, when guests are coming on, they know, hey, I don't have to compete for attention. I'm gonna be able to tell my story. I'm gonna be able to dive into, what I really want to talk about. So usually a brand's message is born out of like what they want to bring to the marketplace, or like what makes them different. Sometimes it's just like what pisses you off, right? Like I've worked with brands where, so I worked with the Lip Bar, and Melissa Butler, who's a founder, she really was like pissed off that the beauty industry was so like toxic, right? So she was like, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to make vegan products, right? Tabitha Brown done popped off, right? Because it's like, well, all these seasonings are trash. I'm always having to concoct my own seasoning, so I'm going to start my own seasoning line. So every entrepreneur always starts because it's like there's something missing out there and they want to like fill that void. So that's all about, that's all your messaging is about.
Okay. Do you ever see somebody that has a good product, but their marketing or their messaging is just
every day, every day, every day? Because the problem is like people don't realize just because you're a good entrepreneur doesn't mean that you're a good marketer. Right? It's two totally different skill sets. And people think like, oh, well, I'm just so passionate about whatever. And it's like the pictures are looking crazy. Again, there's no message. I don't know what makes your brand valuable. I don't know what makes your brand different. I don't know why I should buy your product, because you're just like, well, I just love my hair care line. And it's like, okay, girl, but there's 50,000 hair care brands out there. Like, what's the difference? You know, is a special ingredient? Do you have a special process? Is it like your grandma's secret recipe that's gonna like bring my edges back after postpartum? Like, what is it that you're selling? And I think a lot of times we get so caught up in like, oh, well, I just have so much passion. And it's like, okay, you know, but passion is not going to pay the bills.
Right. Damn right. And so I seen, you don't even know this, but you've helped me already before you even came on the podcast.
Why? How?
Because I seen, I was doing my research on you, right? And I seen you said something to the fact where you was like, people just post their stuff on Instagram, but you have to think Instagram is just a room, right? And you're posting your content in that room to the same people versus posting that same content to different rooms, and you get a bigger, I was like, and like a little light bulb went off, and I was like, okay. So now you make me look at Instagram a whole totally different way, and how I want to structure. And I can put that same content that I'm already putting in this same room, I can start putting it in different places. And I was like, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the thing too, like, the same way you have different rooms in your house, right? Like your bathroom is different from your bedroom, right? Instagram is different from TikTok. It's different from Pinterest. It's different from YouTube. It's different from Twitter, right? It's different from SoundCloud, right? So you have to also treat each platform differently, right? Because you don't, I mean, I don't know what you do in your house, but it's like you don't go in, like, the way that you go into the bathroom is not the way that you go into your kitchen, right? Like you're not brushing your teeth in the kitchen sink, you know? So it's also like when people think like, okay, I'm just gonna shoot one piece of content and I'm just gonna blast it all over the place, right? That's what we're told. Just repurpose your content, just post it. And it's like the way that a YouTube video lives, that's long form content, is not gonna thrive on a short form platform like Instagram or like TikTok, right? And my boy Mahdi, he had a very good explanation where he basically was like, on TikTok, people are going to like discover content. Like you're not really following anybody on TikTok. Like you're just more so coming across content, versus on Instagram is where you go to keep up with people that you already know.
Right.
You know, people that you follow, people you already know, where you kind of like building relationships. So when you think about it that way, it's like the content that you put on TikTok, you need to understand that it's like people are strangers to your brand, right? They don't know who you are. So you have to do a lot more introduction. You have to give the backstory. You gotta put them on game, versus like on Instagram, it's people following you. It's family, right? So it's like you could keep them updated. You could, post clips of the show, etc. But it's like if you're posting on TikTok, it's like, okay, for the podcast, or if you're an artist, you need to constantly like introduce yourself, because you don't know who's gonna come across what post.